Go live.
Can't get my video to go. I don't know what it is.
Maureen, Kevin Pervin's not going to be on. He just texted me.
Okay, and Glenn Seatsma is not joining us either. I'm just connecting us to the YouTube live feed. So Glenn and Kevin are not joining us. Okay.
And
Can't get my video to go.
Rudy says he's coming on. That's a better picture. Maureen, that's a better picture anyway.
Okay, and just give me 1 second and I'll check on who can't get their video. What am I doing?
I could see, but for some reason I'm not sharing my video. That's okay. I can hear.
Well, you can hear us, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. So it's fine.
And we can hear you.
Okay. That'll work then. Hopefully I can figure it out by 8 o'clock.
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Hey, Anthony, how are you?
Good, good. I tried jumping on a couple of times, but I don't think the meeting had started yet. Let me shut this light in the back.
See. Okay. Okay, we're live. Hi, Rob. Hi, Anthony.
Hi, Maureen. How are you?
Hello, Maureen.
Hi, George.
Hi, Maureen.
Rudy says he's going to try to get on too.
Yes, I spoke with him earlier today, so he should be joining us.
Who's the person who's got? Oh, that's Mark DeGenero's got the Coliseum there.
Yeah, that's Mark. Who are we missing? Mike Homichak, Scott Fisher. Glenn is not joining us. Rudy should be joining us. So we're just waiting for Mike.
Here's Rudy. He's coming on.
Scott and Rudy.
Hey, Rudy.
Here's Rudy.
I think you're on mute, Rudy.
Unmute, Rudy.
Still on mute, Rudy.
Just hold your cursor over your face, and a little blue box will light up that will allow you to unmute. Put the mouse over the box that your face is in.
Or you could walk a few houses down and join me.
I can call him. Where's my cell phone?
Rudy, if you go to the bottom left, if you move your cursor and you go to the bottom left, you see the red microphone with the line through it. Hit that.
Let me get my cell phone just in case.
There you go.
Good.
There you go, Rudy.
Okay.
Hi, Rudy.
Hi, Tim. How are you? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Cool.
I think everybody's got audio now, at least.
And we're live on YouTube.
Are we waiting for anybody else?
I don't think so.
I think we're good now. Yep.
Is
There's
Glenn
Mark. Mark is not there.
Seatsman's coming on or not?
He's not.
He's not. Okay. All right. So I guess,
He emailed me today that he couldn't make it.
okay.
What about Mike Homachek? Is he here?
Yeah, Mike's there.
Okay.
Mike just got on. All right. It's I'm showing 7:32, so we might as well get started. Hope everybody's doing well. Let me read these opening statements. Open Public Meetings Act. Please take notice that in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6 et sec, and in consideration of Executive Order Number 103, issued by Governor Murphy on March 9, 2020, declaring a state of emergency in the state of New Jersey, the Planning Board of the Township of Wyckoff does hereby notify the public that to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens, the meeting of the Planning Board of the Township of Wyckoff, scheduled for Wednesday, December 9, 2020, will be conducted virtually through the Zoom video conferencing application, and it will be live streamed on the Township of Wyckoff's YouTube channel. The work session is scheduled for 7:30, and the public business meeting will begin at 8 p.m. These measures are implemented to allow members of the public to observe the meeting via live streaming and to provide the ability to comment during the periods for public comment during the meeting through Zoom telephone call-in technology. Joining the meeting by telephone will be utilized as security against the sharing of inappropriate video content. General instructions regarding access to the meeting is posted on the Wyckoff website's homepage at www.wyckoff-nj.com as a news item. And this is the December 9th, 2020 work session of the Wyckoff Planning Board. It's now in session. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of the meeting appears on our annual schedule of meetings. Copy of said annual schedule has been posted on the bulletin board in Memorial Town Hall. A copy has been filed with the Township Clerk, the Record, the Ridgewood News, and the North Jersey Herald and News, all newspapers with general circulation throughout the Township of Wyckoff. At least 48 hours prior to this meeting, the agenda thereof was similarly posted, filed, and mailed to said newspapers. Members of the public may observe the meeting by following the instructions posted on the Wyckoff website as a news item. In accordance with Section 7A of the Open Public Meetings Act, participation on the part of the public will not be entertained during the work session. Can we have a roll call, please, Maureen?
Yes, sir. Mr. On,
Here.
Mr. Alexandru,
Here.
Ms. Conlin,
Here.
Mr. Riato,
Here.
Mr. Homechak,
Here.
Mr. Fisher, Mr. Sietzma, Mr. Boonstra,
Here.
Mr. Pervin, Mayor Shanley.
Here.
Chairman Fortunato.
Here. And everything's good with the live stream, right, Maureen?
Yes,
Okay,
we're
great.
okay.
Okay, great. Well, welcome, everybody. Good to see you guys all again. Hope everybody's doing well. I want to thank Kevin Pervin for running the meeting last time in my absence. He can't make it tonight, but it's good to be back and see everybody. Hope everybody's healthy. Okay, we'll go over the agenda. The old business is the approval of the November 9th, 2020 work session and regular business meeting minutes. I'm going to abstain from both of those because I wasn't at the meeting. But starting with the work session, does anybody have any comments on that or changes? Hearing none, let's move to the regular business meeting minutes. Anybody have any comments on those? Any changes? If not, can I have a motion to approve both the work session and regular business meeting minutes from November 9th?
Motion to approve both the work session and public session meeting
Second.
minutes.
That was Mike and Anthony, I think.
Anthony?
Seconded.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Conlin,
Yes.
Mr. Riato,
Yes.
Mr. On,
Yes.
Mr. Alexandru. You were
I was absent.
You're
Yeah.
abstaining. Mr. Homechak,
Yes.
Mr. Boonstra,
Yes.
Mayor Shanley,
Yes.
and Chairman, you're abstaining.
Correct. Okay, those are approved. The next item on the agenda is the Robert Sokoli matter, 370 Sycamac Avenue. It's a resolution to be memorialized. Again, I am going to abstain from the vote on that as I wasn't at the meeting, but I will open it up. Do any members have any comments or changes to the resolution?
Straightforward.
Okay. Seeing no objection, can I have a motion to approve as written?
I'll make that motion to approve Mr. Robert Sokoli's application and memorialization, rather, of the resolution of the subdivision.
And I'll second that, Mike Commission.
That was Mike seconding it.
Thank you. Ms. Conlin,
Yes.
Mr. Riato,
Yes.
Mr. Homechak,
Yes.
Mr. On,
Yes.
Mr. Boonstra,
Yes.
Mayor Shanley,
Yes.
And I'll abstain.
yes, sorry.
Okay, oh, there is one, we have resolution number 20-12, which was approval of payment. Did everybody have a chance to look at that? I
Yes.
know it came after the initial package. There are three items on it. It's the Electrify America, 525 Cedar Hill Ave for $1,000, the Luke Oil, which is 322 Franklin Avenue for $140, and the Sokoley Matter, 370 Sycamac Avenue for $820. Anybody have any comments on that? Can I have a motion to approve resolution number 2012, please?
I'll make that motion to approve the resolution 20-12 payments.
And I'll second that, Mike, to make sure.
Thank you. Ms. Conlon,
Yes.
Mr. Riato,
Yes.
Mr. An,
yes,
Mr. Alexandru,
Yes.
Mr. Homicek,
Yes.
Mr. Boonstra,
Yes.
Mayor Shanley,
Yes.
Chairman Fortunato.
Yes. Okay, we have one item on for completeness review. And if the matter is deemed complete, then it would be held a public hearing at the regular meeting. That matter is the Rita and Mary Awad matter, which is 490 Vance Avenue. This is is coming before the board because it involves an application to a soil movement in excess of 100 cubic yards. So, Mr. DeGennaro, I know you prepared a memo on this, and you've been dealing with this for several weeks, from what I understand. Do you want to bring us through this matter?
Sure.
Thanks.
So I issued a report originally November 18th and revised it on December 2nd. What you should have in front of you is a technical memorandum, revised 12/2/20 for 490 Vance Ave, block 337, lot 14. The site plan and the soil erosion sediment control plan prepared by Aslina and Fury, sheets 1 of 2, dated 6/15/20, revised 11/24/20. And sheet 2 of 2 is also included. It's the sewage disposal system plan and details, last revised November 24th, 20. And also there's a third page that was added. The third sheet is entitled Landscape Plan, and that was added, and that's dated November 24th, 2020. In summary, the application is for demolishing the existing residential structure, which has been taken down already. Proposes to improve the property to construct a new home with a circular driveway, install 5 new bedroom septic system, which we're currently reviewing and waiting for some revisions to gain approval on that. I don't see the septic being a problem to fit a 5-bedroom septic on there. Everything looks like it would be satisfactory once the revisions that I suggest be made are addressed. So I'll take you through the review comments. You'll see that whatever I struck through with a line and stated satisfied, that was the original comments from my original report, and then subsequent resubmission that I received on or about December 2nd addresses or acknowledges those changes. Did I lose anybody yet? Good.
You're good.
So we're going to go right to number 2. You'll see that 46-40B checklist items A through G, I, and J were incomplete. However, on December 3rd, Maureen did receive a additional submission in the form of an application. Although I'll tell you that if you have it in front of you, you'll see that it was printed on a landscape format, so it cut a third of the sheet off on every one of the pages. But I will take you through that checklist items A through G. Item 2E of 46-40 is certification of property tax payments and assessments are current. I haven't seen anything to that effect, any statement submitted. I don't know if Maureen received one.
Is that A, Mark?
that's 46-40B.
Right.
It's
Subsection-
number 2 on my memorandum, and it's letter E, certification of property owner property tax payments.
All right, that's letter E. Okay.
Yeah. So that is
Did you
not
receive
checked off.
anything to that effect, Maureen?
I did not receive anything today.
The certi-
Since the last batch of packets were dropped off on Thursday afternoon, everything I received, you have.
Okay. So that's missing, Mark, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That's number E.
From what I understand, Maureen emailed me earlier today the filing for the soil erosion sediment control plan. Is that right, Maureen?
Yes, and I believe that was included in the board members' packet.
Good.
The Bergen County soil.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we go down to the ownership disclosure statement, which is G.
Right.
I haven't seen something like that. I don't know if you have that, Maureen.
I do not.
It says it's submitted. It's checked off as a yes.
That's what allows the board members to get on the property.
Well, that's the ownership disclosure statement.
Okay. Is that the permission slip would allow us on the property, or is that something?
No. That's K.
Oh, okay. So what's the ownership disclosure statement?
It's a statement that certifies that their statement that they own the property and they have the legal authority to make application to the
Okay.
to the board.
Okay. So that hasn't come in. Okay.
They addressed that, not applicable fund fringe application. Item J is a landscape plan. The landscape plan that was submitted attached with the sheet 3 of the site plan does not show any proposed landscaping, or at least it's very vague. There's no detail other than the statement that states the landscaping will be landscaping proposed by owner. And basically shows the front areas, but there's no detail as to the landscape plan. So it doesn't really meet the definition of the type of landscape plan that the board requires, or an application requires to be submitted, such as quantity, species, location, and size.
I saw that the landscape plan submitted is essentially just indicating what plants are to be removed, correct?
Yep. So the next one, item 3 on my memo, 46-40B of the checklist, items K and L. Statement granting permission of the board for any of its experts to enter the project property. I have not seen that. I don't know if Maureen has that. And L, copy
Yeah,
of
Maureen, before we move on.
Well, the attorney did email a permission slip to me, but they did not include it in the copies that were included in the packet. They weren't part of the 14 copies, I'm assuming. It should have been, one of those should have been attached to every one of those applications
Right.
that I received on Thursday.
Because technically without that, no board member was supposed to enter the property, correct?
Well, we did submit the certification and permission. It just was submitted via email. I was recovering from COVID at the time, so I had it emailed by my office after I had the owner sign it. So I do believe you have it. I mean,
I received one via email, but a copy of that should have been attached to each application of the 14 that were submitted. But I can,
It's absolutely
if it
correct.
wasn't, I can forward that to the board members individually.
Okay. All right. Why don't you continue?
Okay, L, copy of any protective covenants or deed restrictions affecting the property, if any, provided that none exist, an affidavit from the owner certifying that no covenants or restrictions exist shall be submitted. That item has not been checked off and nothing has been provided. 46-40C, 11 and 12, existing and proposed building, principal building, accessory structures with dimensions, present finished grade elevations, floor plans, and area measurements. And 12, complete exterior building elevation drawings of proposed structure. Both are checked off yes. I haven't seen either one. I
We
don't know
did
if
not
more-
receive, we did not receive any.
So basically,
architectural-
that's the architecturals that we're requesting that need to be provided as part of a complete application.
So you don't know, you haven't even reviewed those, so you don't even know if when those are submitted, there's going to be any need for a variance. Is that fair?
No, that's not for that. We have a footprint on the site plan, so that
Okay.
it should be variance free. The only issue would be the height. That could potentially be and possibly a third story. That would be the defining. That would be defined by the elevations on the architectural plan. You wouldn't see that on a site plan.
Okay.
Mark, just a quick question on that subject. It looks like this house triggers the enhanced side yard setback, which they're evidently complying with. Am I right on that?
They're complying, yes.
Yeah, I see the measurements look like they comply. That's just for the record that this does trigger the enhanced side yard setbacks, which they're in compliance with according to the what I see here.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Hey, Mark, just to clarify, because I know before you move on your memo, you've got number 9 here. A benchmark is not identified in the plan. I know that I talked to a couple of people, and can you just clarify what that is?
that's something for me and for the contractor that is going to be building the septic plan and the house. It's
Okay.
pretty standard. It's an elevation mark that's provided that references the point that is the basis for the design. So without having a reference benchmark, we don't know how we could construct anything.
Right.
So that's just a technical issue that can be cleaned up rather quickly. It's not fatal.
Okay. All right.
I can also address
Well,
the mi-
talking about benchmarks, what is the height limit over there as far as the that zone?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
What's the height limit for the properties there?
35 feet for the
35.
house.
And Anthony, the benchmark just applies to the septic system.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Well, the septic
Far
and,
where they
and,
can go
and the
up.
house, but it's
Yeah.
just, it's required on any engineering site plan. I mean, there's a note on there that says the engineer shall, or the the surveyor shall provide the benchmark, but there's got to be a basis as to what they used to come up with their design. And I like to see that, and it's required on their site plans.
Okay.
The plan calls for taking down 52 trees from the property. I skipped one. Item 46-40C19, checklist item, stormwater management plan. They did check it, yes, correctly, and it was submitted, and I did review the stormwater management, and it was acceptable. It meets the township's code requirements.
So that's-
Again, number 7, landscape plan has not been provided and is required based on 46-40BJ. The plan currently submitted does not identify any landscape plantings.
Right. Okay.
Scrolling on down to the retaining walls, number 11, the application, I had made a recommendation at the bottom that could be submitted later, but I see that on December 3rd, they did submit calculations for proposed retaining wall. I have that now in my possession, prepared by Azalina Fury, and we'll take that and review that as part of the permit process.
So 11's resolved.
11's resolved.
Okay. Going down to 15.
Seepage pit detail, that's a technical recommendation. They removed the fabric, not a problem.
Okay. So that's,
So basically, moving down to the recommendations, obviously, if the board were to hear this application and approve it, any approval should be subject to obtaining a septic design approval from my office. The initial septic review has resulted in requests for revisions and resubmission, which I touched on earlier. However, I'm not concerned that there would be any limitations as to being able to accommodate a 5-bedroom septic on the property, so that's a good thing. Retaining wall stability calcs, I have them at this point, so I'll review those, and that will be subject to review before permitting. And then approval from the Bergen County Soil Conservation shall also be a condition of any approval. And my understanding is from what Maureen says in email that that information has been provided.
Okay. All right. So as I understand it, Mark, I mean, several of these things, like if we were to hear the application tonight, some of these things could be submitted subject to the approval, right? The certification is the tax payments,
Sure.
the ownership disclosure statement, correct?
Yes.
Retaining wall, you got protect the affidavit, that's the protective covenants. What I find what's inadequate, well, there are two things. The first thing is we should have been given, because I know it's practice. I go to the properties and I like to walk the properties. We're not given permission to do that because we didn't have the permission, the signed permission slip. That could be, that's a technical issue, but that is an issue. Because frankly, I didn't walk the site as a result of that. We do have pictures in the file, but more importantly, the landscape plan is inadequate. All it shows is removal of trees. There's no proposal for landscaping, and it doesn't show what's going to be added, if anything is going to be added. And I mean, I know based on prior applications we've heard. 52 trees is a lot of trees to remove, and without a proposal to add some kind of landscaping in its place, the applicant would probably have a hard time. So, Mr. Suresti, I know this is technically the work session, but it wouldn't be prudent. I mean, I don't think we're going to deem this complete now anyway because of the landscape plan. But even if you were to make an argument that that was the landscape plan and you wanted to go ahead with it, it wouldn't be a recommendation to do that. Because
no, I concur with you 100%. I spoke to Perry Frenzel this afternoon, and I reviewed that plan with him because all we're showing is grass.
Okay.
So Perry raised an issue whether this could be addressed at a later date, but obviously this is something that's very important. The property's 3/4 of an acre, and obviously 52 trees is a significant removal. So whatever we need in order to make this application complete and to provide you with a landscape plan, we will so do it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I would strongly suggest that your landscape architect or landscaper look to see about trying to limit the removal of some of those trees, if possible, and come up with a plan that'll try to integrate some of the existing trees. Yeah, we're not gonna make a decision on the application at this point, but I can just tell you from experience, generally the board tries to see that some of the natural landscaping remain.
It's not such an unusual request.
Okay. So
what I would suggest, Mr. Chairman, is what we've done in the past on these type of situations is myself and a member of the Shade Tree Commission, typically Mr. Sietsma, would walk the site prior. And I think it being that this is seems like it's incomplete, pending the new landscape plan, we could do that before the next meeting, just to get an idea. I know I've been on the site myself. I didn't pay particular attention, but it is quite overgrown. So a lot of the tree count numbers are there because of overcrowding of a lot of trees. But I think Mr. Sietsma and I could do that walkthrough and give a comment or a report for the next meeting if that's something that you think would be helpful.
Yeah, I think it would. Would you suggest that Mr. Suresti reach out to you, or how would you handle that?
We pretty much have the plan already. And Mr. Sietsma and I could go out and take a look at the trees. If the applicant wants to join, we can certainly meet with them as well.
I think we could work together on that issue to address it.
Okay. All right. So just so it's clear, so the items that should be submitted, there's going to be, so based on Mr. DeGennaro's review and based on what we see here, the application is going to be deemed incomplete, and it'll be subject to a certification as to tax payments. It'll be listed, provided these things are provided, Mr. Suresti, it'll be listed on the January meeting. What's the date of that, Maureen?
It is January 13th, Wednesday, January 13th.
Okay. And I understand you've had some health issues, Mr. Suresti. I'm glad to see that you seem to be doing better.
I've been very fortunate.
And, if you can, try to get them to us on the earlier side if possible. I understand some things get in the way with health and all. But so we have a complete package when we look at it next time would be very.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we need the certification as to tax payments. We need the ownership disclosure statement. We need the amended landscape plan, and we need the permission to enter, and the affidavit is to protective covenants. I think that covered everything, right, Mark?
What
Yes.
about the affidavit of proof of service? Was that put in?
That
Well, that's a legal question.
that has to do with the noticing.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, Mr. Hanley, is there any issue on the notice on this?
Now
Okay,
you're muted.
You're muted. Kevin, you're muted.
Kevin, you're muted.
Hello?
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have the green cards and the list of certified mailings. It appeared to be complete. My position would be that since the notices went out, we've had a hearing tonight, we'll put it on the record. No further notice would be required at this point. Besides what you discussed, Mr. Chairman, I think the only other issue are the elevations and architectural drawings that were requested by Mr. DeGennaro.
That's correct. Thank you, Mr. Hanley. Yes, the architecturals as well. Okay, so subject to those items, can I have a motion to deem?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to rush you, but
Yeah,
I want to make it clear that the architecturals, Mr. Suresti, should include elevations from the four perspectives, front, back, sides, and also include material description. In other words, what type of siding, hardy, vinyl, brick, stone, etc. Please. And make sure they show an elevation, meaning the height. Lowest finish grade to the highest peak is how we measure the height in Wyckoff. And that's got to be under 35 feet.
If you're going to get the architecturals, then you could do the landscaping around the architectural.
Makes sense.
okay. Is there anything else?
Rob, can you hear me?
Who's that?
Scott.
Scott is here.
Oh, hey, Scott. Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry, I'm having camera issues, but as long as you can hear me.
Go ahead.
So what about the actual application that was filed? I know we have one from November 15th and one from December 3rd. The December 3rd is not actually complete because the way they copied it, it's cut off. And just through a quick review, some of the information isn't the same. On the November 13th, the block and lot numbers are different. If you go to the December 9th, the rear proposed yard dimensions are different. So there's just some discrepancies with it, and maybe it should be resubmitted in a form that we can read complete, and let's verify the information.
I think that's fair. You have any problem with that, Mr. Suresti?
No, we'll work with the board on that.
I think you probably got involved later in this. Is that what
I did.
happened?
There was a submission and then I was asked to jump in.
Okay. So will you review that and make sure you submitted an amended application that's got the correct information on it that we can use when we revisit this?
Not a problem.
Okay. Thanks, Scott. Okay, is there anything else? Okay, so subject to those items, can I have a motion to deem this matter incomplete, subject to the applicant providing the listed items prior to the next meeting in a timely fashion? At which point we will put it on for completeness at the next meeting, Mr. Suresti, and we will also list it on the as a matter to be heard, with the assumption that it will be complete and deemed complete at the at the work session. If it's not, then it'll be carried, but we will give the applicant the opportunity to be heard if it is deemed complete.
I appreciate that.
Can I have a motion to deem this matter incomplete, subject to the items that have been previously listed?
I'll make a motion to deem incomplete the application at 490 Vance Ave, block 337, lot 14.
I'll second that.
It was Rudy and Tim.
Ms. Conlon,
Yes.
Mr. Riato,
Yes.
Mr. Homechak,
Yes.
Mr. On,
Yes.
Mr. Alexandru,
Yes.
Mr. Boonstra,
Yes.
Mayor Shanley,
Yes.
Chairman Fortunato.
Yes. Okay. That's the final item on the work session. Can I have a motion? We'll go right into the regular business meeting. Can I have a motion to adjourn the work session?
So moved.
Second.
Mike.
I'm sorry,
I made it,
Mayor
Tim.
Shanley.
Yep.
Shanley and Boonstra.
Okay.
Oh, Shanley and Boonstra. Okay. Ms. Conlon,
Yes.
Mr. Riato,
Yes.
Mr. Homechak,
Yes.
Mr. On,
Yes.
Mr. Alexandru,
Yes.
Mr. Boonstra,
Yes.
Mayor Shanley,
Yes.
Chairman Fortunato.
Yes. Okay, it's 8:04 by my clock, so we'll move right into the regular meeting. Maureen, should I read the Open Public Meetings Act again? You know?
Yeah,
To be on the safe
you don't
side?
Yes,
have
you
to
have
read.
to.
Okay, all right,
The-
so let me,
You have to read.
yes, okay, I know
Yeah,
the
you
other
have to
ones, the other ones I'm gonna read again. Okay, so we're still on the live feed, Maureen?
Yes, we are.
Okay, very good. Okay, so please take notice that in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6 et sec, and in consideration of Executive Order Number 103 issued by Governor Murphy on March 9, 2020, declaring a state of emergency in the state of New Jersey, the Planning Board of the Township of Wyckoff does hereby notify the public that to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens, the meeting of the Planning Board of the Township of Wyckoff scheduled for Wednesday, December 9, 2020, will be conducted virtually through the Zoom video conferencing application, and it will be live streamed on the Township of Wyckoff's YouTube channel. The work session is scheduled for 7:30, and the public business meeting will begin at 8 p.m. These measures are implemented to allow members of the public to observe the meeting via live streaming and to provide the ability to comment during the periods for public comment during the meeting through Zoom telephone call-in technology. Joining the meeting by telephone will be utilized as security against the sharing of inappropriate video content. General instructions regarding access to the meeting are posted on the Wyckoff website's homepage at www.wyckoff-nj.com as a news item. All December 9th, 2020 public meeting of the Wyckoff Planning Board is now in session. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting appears on our annual schedule of meetings. A copy of said annual schedule has been posted on the bulletin board in Memorial Town Hall. A copy has been filed with the Township Clerk, the Record, the Ridgewood News, and the North Jersey Herald and News, all newspapers with general circulation throughout the Township of Wyckoff. At least 48 hours prior to this meeting, the agenda thereof was similarly posted, filed, and mailed to said newspapers. All applicants are hereby reminded that your application, if approved, may be subject to the terms, conditions, and payment of the Affordable Housing Development Fee requirements of the Township. Information can be obtained from the Code of the Township of Wyckoff, Chapter 113-8, on the Township's website, www.wyckoff-nj.com. This meeting is a judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and decorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Can we please stand? I have an American flag here. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
United States of
America.
which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
liberty and justice for all. We have a roll call, Maureen.
Ms. Conlon,
Here.
Mr. Riato,
Here.
Mr. Homechak,
Here.
Mr. On,
Here.
Mr. Alexandru,
Here.
Mr. Fisher,
Here.
Mr. Boonstra,
Here.
Mayor Shanley.
Here.
Chairman Fortunato.
Here. Hey, welcome back, everybody, again. We went through essentially the whole agenda at the work session, so we'll go through that now. We approved the November 9th work session and regular business meeting minutes at the work session. The resolution as to Robert Sokoley, which was 376 Sycamore. Somebody's got some background noise.
Yeah.
Seems to have stopped, but okay. The Robert Sokoley resolution, which is 370 Sycamore Avenue, was approved. Resolution number 20-12, which was for payments, was also approved. And the Rita and Mary Awad matter, 490 Vance Avenue, was deemed incomplete, subject to the applicant providing several items in advance of the next meeting, and has been carried for completeness to the, was it January? What was the date in January?
January 13th.
January 13th. And it will be listed for public hearing on that date as well, provided, and will be heard provided it is deemed complete at the work session. And we have nothing, because the Awad matter was deemed incomplete, we have nothing for public hearing. I will open it up to the before I open it to the public, is there anything else that needs to be addressed? Mr. Sharesti, is there anything else that you would like to address with regard to the Awad application?
I don't think so. I think we covered those items which need to be addressed to the board.
Okay.
So we'll work on that to get it done for you.
Okay, great. All right, so we'll see you on January 13th. Is there, before I open it to the public, anything else, board members? Okay. All right, Maureen, do we have the call in? Anybody, I mean, we'll open it to the public for public comment. Anybody calling in that you're aware of, Maureen?
There are a few people. I'm gonna go to the first one, Howard Goldman.
Okay. Mr. Goldman, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. This is
Yes.
Robert Fortunato. Mr. Goldman, can you give us your property address, please?
It's I'm actually with Joe Goldman is the owner of the property. It's 495 Berkeley Drive.
Okay. Go ahead.
She's sitting with me.
Okay. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
I'm sorry?
You have public comment?
Yes, with concern, 495 Berkeley Drive is directly behind the property in question. I do appreciate the board's thorough examination of the application.
Chairman, I'm going to interrupt everyone here. I think this is inappropriate comment.
Yes.
We have not heard any testimony. We have not heard testimony yet. Residents are given first the opportunity to cross-examine witnesses and then make a general comment at the end. Now, I don't know what Mr. Goldman's going to say, but I think we need to be careful here because this is not appropriate to take comment when we've heard no testimony or proposing to hear no testimony and we're not proposing to act. I hate to throw a wet towel on this, but I think that's what the law requires.
Yes, Mr. Goldman.
I agree.
Yeah, Mr. Goldman, since we haven't heard, the application is not before us to be heard. So you're going to have to save your comments for next time, assuming the application is heard then, okay?
Very good. I understand the process. I've been through it many times myself already, commercial and residential. Just as a matter of course, let me just ask the board, if we do have specific concerns, do we direct them to the board prior to the meeting? Is there a way to do that?
Maureen, hey, my suggestion would be to certainly call in at the next meeting on January 13th. Do we have a system, being that we're doing Zoom, that we do
Okay.
that, Maureen?
So the system that we have in place now, because of the whole pandemic thing, is that we do make the link available for members of the public to join the way that this gentleman has joined tonight. If people don't have access to a computer, they are now permitted to email or mail their questions or comments to me prior to the meeting. The deadline is 3:00 the afternoon and the meeting. And apparently we are to read these comments out loud at the meeting. This is something that came across from the governor and the NJ. Rudy, I don't know if you talked to Bob about this.
I have not.
This is
I have
a new.
not. I'm speaking quite honestly, Maureen, based on experience. I'm not a lawyer, but I've got some experience, and I can make a comment about Zoom, but I will hold my comment.
Mr. Goldman, I would suggest you come on at the next hearing, because the way the applicant will make their presentation, again, assuming it's deemed complete at the work session, and then you will have a right, if you want, or the owner through you will have the right to question whatever witnesses Mr. Suresti presents on his applicant's behalf. And then you will have a general opportunity to speak at the end of the application. So
correct.
That's the way it would be handled. If for any reason you're unavailable or the homeowner's unavailable, you can submit comments in advance, but honestly, you would be much better served if you were present.
Yeah. Ms. Mitchell, is there a format that we have for the members of the public to review the submissions that were made by the applicant prior to the hearing date?
Yes, and it is also posted on our agenda. It's on our township website. The applications and plans are listed on our website. There are instructions on our agendas of how to access and view all of the applications that are pending consideration by the planning board and the zoning board. So the information is all out there. Everything is readily available.
So Mr. Goldman, you may want to check that prior to the January hearing.
Very good. Thank you. Understood. And we'll see you on January 13th, and have a happy new year.
You too. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Maureen, is anybody else on the line?
Well, one is, I see Perry Frenzel. He's one of the engineers with Azalina and Fury. So he's.
That's one of your witnesses, Mr. Suresti?
That is correct. Perry's an engineer.
There are two other guests, John Bolick and John Brock.
Okay. We won't hear the engineer this evening.
Right.
And let's go to the other members of the public.
Okay. John Bolick is up next. I unmuted him.
Hi, Mr. Bolick. How are you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Bolick, what's your address, please?
I'm right next to Mr. Goldman, so I'm not immediately behind the property, but close to it. So
okay. So, Mr. Bolick, you had an opportunity to hear the comments we made to Mr. Goldman.
Yes, I understand. That makes sense. So I'll join you again on the 13th.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thanks, you too.
And Maureen, final. John Brock.
Yes, hi, John Brock here.
What's your address, Mr. Brock?
492 Vance Ave. We're right next door to the property, 490.
You've heard that since there's nothing before the board right now, we really can't accept any comments on the application. Do you understand that?
Right, absolutely.
Are you available to, my suggestion would be you come back on the January 13th meeting. And if you haven't done so already, review the plans that have been submitted. And there are going to be some amendments to that. Mr. Suresti is going to submit particularly a revised landscape plan in advance of the next meeting. So my suggestion would be to have a look at that in advance of the meeting. And then you're certainly free to call in and with comments at that time.
That sounds good. And I just wanted to ask, when usually is that, is that information available? Because I did go online this time around and didn't find it until maybe it was today, later in the afternoon. Maybe I was at the wrong spot, but I usually just trying to figure out when it is available.
Yeah, there were some
the PDF.
late submissions.
I had to wait to get the plans in PDF format from the engineer. I had requested them, maybe a couple of weeks ago, and then requested them again last week and got them in the later part of last week. They didn't go, I think I got them Friday. They went up yesterday, or today's Wednesday. They went up on Monday. As soon as I get the revisions, I'll request the revisions in PDF format and they'll go up on the website.
But they were available before that in paper form, right, Maureen? But
we're not allowing the public into town hall to view the plans. So, I mean, if somebody really had a problem and didn't have access to a computer, we could make arrangements to, put the plans on a table outside the ramp entrance or something, whatever it takes, we'll make it happen. But I haven't had any requests.
Everything's supposed to be submitted 10 days before.
10 days before.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but you're saying that you get submissions, but sometimes they're not in PDF, so you can't get the PDF up until a later time?
When I get the PDF, I then have to forward it to Nancy, and Nancy posts it to the Wyckoff website.
Okay. Mr. Suresti, can I make a suggestion that whatever submissions you make, particularly with regard to the landscape plan and the architecturals on this,
Yes.
you submit them simultaneously in PDF so that they can be posted, because clearly there's going to be some comment from members of the public, it appears, and the sooner that they have an opportunity to review it, the better it would be, I think, for everybody involved.
Yeah, that should be required for all applications going forward, right? The public has to be able to see it.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's a very reasonable
this is
request.
the first Zoom meeting. We're back to Zoom.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
But we have actually, if you go on our website and you look under planning board, and there's a section where applications pending consideration by the planning board, they go back a few months. We've been posting them for a few months now. It's not just for the Zoom meeting. We actually started doing this a few months back. So for the planning board and the zoning board, all of the applications are available on our website.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about it not getting up in time or with enough notice for
Right.
the meeting for people to review it. So Mr. Bolick, Mr. Goldman, and Mr. Brock, if you have any problems accessing the computer for any reason, you can call Maureen.
Absolutely.
She can make hard copies available to you, but they should be accessible on the website in advance of the meeting.
Great, thank you very much.
Yeah, that sounds good. I had the same problem that Mr. Brock had. I was checking daily, and this particular one wasn't up there. I saw several others, but this one wasn't up until, I think it was not just a day before, but it may have been 2 or 3 days before. Certainly it wasn't available 10 days before.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, I know. Well, Mr. Suresti had some health issues, and there were some
right.
conditions in it. So hopefully, in connection with the January meeting, everybody will have a little extra time, more time to review stuff. Okay?
Good.
Thank you. Anybody else on the line, Maureen?
That's it.
Okay, very good. Then we'll give 30 more seconds if anybody's going to call. And if nobody does, then we'll have a motion to close the meeting for the evening. Okay. I assume no one else is called in, right, Maureen?
Right.
Okay. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn, especially in light of the fact that I saw what appeared to be a hungry lion come out of that building behind Mark DeGennaro. So I think he ought to go home.
I'll second that motion, Mike.
Rudy and Mike.
I think
Miss Conlon?
Mark did the Coliseum.
Building's going to be coming in front of the zoning board soon for some repairs.
He's on the grass right behind you, Mark. Watch your back.
Mark always talked about how his ancestors fed people to the lions in that building.
Well, actually, Mark did the review of the Coliseum there. That's only 10 years old.
That's right. They're coming in for repairs.
Do we have a second on that motion?
Yes,
I
Mike
second it.
Homichak second. Ms. Conlon,
Yes.
Mr. Riato,
Yeah, yes.
Mr. Homichak,
Yes.
Mr. An,
Yes.
Mr. Alexandru,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Boonstra,
Yes.
Mayor Shanley,
Yes.
Chairman Fortunato.
Yes. Okay, everybody, thank you for joining us. Have a good Christmas and New Year's and Hanukkah, and everybody stay safe, okay?
Thanks. You